Hello, and welcome to Avio's Journey. I wanted to come on today and expand on the topic of finding your money voice, which is a term that I don't know where I came up with it, but probably like show me the money, from Jerry Maguire. But your money voice, basically, the idea is that voice that you use that you end up getting hired for the most, right, to do voiceovers for. So I want to talk about that really quickly. Sorry I haven't been on as much. We've just been so busy. Academy Voices has just exploded, and we're doing tons of work over there. I think we've finally hit over 100 audiobooks. I published 100. We went to 100, 607 this morning or something, and we are just knocking it out of the park and have so many amazing people. We got about 20 maybe slots left for the first month free. So there'll be a link below. So check that out if you want to hit that deal. And then it's only $9 a month afterwards. But we have a really nice posting board, a job posting board, and auditions. We post about 2 or 3 every day. So really exciting. And our other YouTube channel, Academy of Voices Entertainment, has been monetized finally. So that's really exciting because we're putting up a lot of content there, and we can move into not just audiobooks, but meditations, animations, and fan dubs, that we can use for money, because not all of them you can, but some you can. So anyways, it's just very exciting opportunity and for us to earn this revenue and share it with all of the voice actors that are part of the community of putting in work. So, but anyways, with all that being said, the money voice, this idea of creating a voiceover style that you get hired for a lot, it kind of came out of the idea when I first started. It took me about a year and a half. I was doing a bunch of audiobooks, and I think I was getting hired to do a lot of audiobooks because, I had been a teacher for a good part of my life, as well as an actor, but I also been a teacher. And so I got hired for a lot of nonfiction, educational type of pieces, because I think that voice that I used, was kind of ingrained in me as a teacher. So that kind of authoritative style. But I didn't really have any other styles for voiceover that I had developed yet. And I sat down, and I know I've told this story a bunch. But a summer that I laid down in my living room, and I said, I'm not going to move until I figure this whole thing out. It was about a year and a half into my voiceover journey. And at that point, I was frustrated because my business had done all this work and it had tanked. And I was very upset about it. But one of the things that came out of that was my money voice. Or basically, I did a bunch of research, and I started listening to a bunch of voice actors, men who had similar or voices to me or whatever, and I listened to what they were getting hired for. And all of the voiceovers that I heard them doing were this deeper style voiceover. At the time, I had this I was very like this. I was very excited and be like, come on down and buy the, I was doing that. And I didn't know any better, right? Just like many of us when we start. So I had listened and studied a bunch of these men who were getting hired a bunch. And what I got out of that was that their voices were deeper, their deliveries were not as up in your face like I just did. It sounded a lot more like there was wisdom there. There was, especially for my age as well. So and it was deeper. And a different tone than I was using. So I worked really hard and and I wouldn't say changed, I would just say added, made a new style. And interestingly enough, I did a demo on my own. I improv'd some stuff. Literally, I went in the booth and I closed my eyes and I thought of just some different things. I guess where I came up with my Ford commercial for the coffee. Mornings aren't for everyone, if you haven't heard that. And anyways, that 15-second improvisation with that style of voice that I changed totally turned my voiceover career from kind of mediocre to booking steady work. And I know it comes from that because 80% of the people who hire me reference that first spot in my demo. And that's what they want. And after all these years, I've not changed it because of that, at least that first spot, because it brings in the majority of work. On a side note, never put a date on your stuff. There's another little tip. Never put a date on your your demos or any of your stuff like that, right? And don't try to add in things, that I think aren't evergreen. I mean, clearly there's always going to be something that you might need to change. But anyways, the point is, and you can take, by the way, if something's working on your demo, I'm getting off topic. Something's working on your demo and you want to build a new one, keep that one thing and add it to your next demo, you know what I mean? Or at least redo it if you have like a new chain or new equipment or something like that, or new space. But anyways, get back to your money voice. This is something that you've got to work on. And how do you know you found your money voice? Well, first you're trying a bunch of different types of styles, and you're getting hired, and people are referencing that style that you do, or that particular spot on your demo. Do you know what I mean? That's how you know that you found your money voice, right? And I called it the money voice because it's the voice that makes you the most money. If you haven't found that yet, that's okay. Keep looking. Now, does it mean that you, so what are some different, maybe different money voices per se? So for me, I needed to change my pitch. Right. And even now you could tell I now talk more with from the back, right, of my throat, from a lower standpoint. I don't, now when I get excited, I can go up like this, because then it moves to the front of my mouth and to my nose. But when I'm talking like this, or when I do a lot of voiceovers now, it always falls back to the back of my throat. Okay. And that helps me, or just generally. And funny thing is when I'm talking generally, like this is how I talk. Now, when I push from my diaphragm, I can get a little bit louder and it comes to the middle of my mouth. And when I high pitch, it goes to the front of my mouth, right? So, and it's a feeling too in your mind as well as the placement in your mouth. I mean, so, that's something that I learned and I worked on, and that's how I changed my style. And so that was the pitch as well as the speed. I changed the speed. I slowed down because I was going pretty fast, and I slowed down. Now, some people, remember, we're going to have directions from different people. They're going to want one. Some people are going to want one thing. Some people are going to want another thing. But, for me, I was going very fast a lot, and I slowed down and changed the pitch of my voice, and that really turned Now, I didn't slow down to where I'm talking like this. I didn't do that, but I went from, da 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 to, da 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 da. You know what I mean? And another thing is that I kept narrating a lot. And why is that important? Like books and long form and stuff like that, and working on talking, just talking. Because it took me a while, and maybe it was because I was a stage actor too, or whatever, that I was not used to being stationary. I was, all of my acting background was from a very physical type of background. So everything, so I moved a lot on stage, and there was a lot of movement, physical movement, and that was ingrained in my head, right? Physicality, right? We first act with our bodies and then our voices. But in voiceover, right, we still can be very physical, like I'm being physical right now, but there is a stationary aspect because we have a microphone. So I had to get used to. And by the way, don't be this is another thing. You've got to get used to speaking. I call it into the ether, if you will, even though that's what the microphone's picking you up. But you know what I mean? It's a different thing, and I had to get used to it. And I wasn't comfortable for a long period of time. And that showed up, and you could hear kind of, to me, I can go back and listen to some things and hear indecision in my voice. Does that make sense? So that's something that I definitely worked on. It took me, like I said, 1.5 to 2 years to really get more comfortable and to find that style. But that style I found really was born out of frustration of not getting more work. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is don't beat yourself up, because I've been there. I know what it's like, and it took me time. Another thing too, the podcasting I started doing, the videos I started doing helped me just start to talk, feel comfortable talking into a microphone, and that and realizing that, recognizing that your microphone is there, understanding the proper placement, becoming a practitioner of being, voiceover, being very conscious, but also being able to focus so everything's not so scary when you turn on the microphone and you try to, voice act. But that takes time because it takes familiarity. Right, it takes being comfortable, and it took me, like I said, it took me about 1.5 to 2 years. I'm not saying it's taken you that long, or it's going to take you that long, but it did for me. And I was an actor, and I had performed on stage for thousands and thousands of people, and I don't know if that might have done something, like it might have made it more difficult to, like I said, be stationary. But anyways, you can do it. You want to find your money voice. Keep working on that, okay? And again, trying out different things. Remember, if you're doing a bunch of auditionings, you're not winning auditions, you might as well try different stuff. So try those different auditions or different styles with your auditions and see what happens. See if people are hiring you. See what feedback you're getting, right? See, sometimes no feedback is feedback. But you can't read too much into, like, for example, on Voices or something, because a lot of people are not going to give you any feedback at all anyways, because they're busy and they're listening to hundreds of auditions. But, you have to read between the lines sometimes with feedback or no feedback, okay? Being shortlisted or something like that. But try out different styles, okay? Try out different things. And you can figure out what styles to try out by listening to others who are successful. All right, enough of that. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Okay, make sure you check out links below, of course. We got a VO's Journey Elite Academy, a lot of amazing things happening over there, just with, really helping our voice actors grow their businesses, and into Academy Voices. Of course, you can join Academy Voices without having to be in a VO's Journey Elite Academy, and there's a link below for that. We're offering 1 free month there, and of course, 50% off, though, if you feel like you really do need that education, that acting training, and marketing and tech and all that stuff. So we got everything you need. All right, guys, thank you so much. You have a wonderful Wednesday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.